My two favorite things in the world is to play Minecraft and read Reddit stories, so that is what we are going to do today. Husband of 5 years just told me he cheated before we were married and we were 22 male and 25 female. We have a child together and he is a great husband and father. My husband just told me that he cheated when we were 2 years into dating, which was 9 years ago. And at that time, we are extremely on the rocks because we started living together way too fast before we were ready. We were 22 at the time and weren't happy, but tried to see if we can make it work. He said that I was his first relationship and he wanted to leave. Honestly, we both did. But for some reason, couldn't let me go. He says he cheated and thought that it would give him clarity to get out, but it didn't work. He said it was twice, a couple of days apart with the same girl. For some reason, he even mentioned that he never kissed her, and he couldn't look at her in the act, and she was a random. He felt bad after and never did it again, and our relationship and marriage has been great. He told me that he thought he wanted out, but after he did what he did, he realized that he felt guilt for a reason he didn't understand, and wanted to see if things get better between us. He kept the lie for so long because he said he was scared and he didn't want to lose me. I asked him about it because I always felt something was off from back then, and he told me everything. I just don't know if I should stay because of the lie. He said as time went on, it became harder and harder to tell because of his fear of losing me and what we built together. He is a great husband and father, and I wholeheartedly believe he matured and not that person. But it still hurts. I think she meant not that person anymore, but ugh. I mean, I'd love to say like lose them, but you really don't know with these situations if you're not in the relationship yourself. Because my general rule is that if you're not in the relationship specifically and you don't know the other person personally, then it's hard to speak on it because they have their own truth, and I have mine, which is like dump them. No, I'm just kidding. But they do have a kid, which plays like a big part in why you'd want to maintain a relationship like that. If you care about the kids at all, right? You don't want to put him through that. But yeah, this is like a messy situation to be in, all in all. Wonder what the comments say. All right, next one. I got cheated on very early into my relationship, and now I don't know what to do. Ooh, it's a bad one. I've been dating a girl for a year now, and she randomly tells me that a year later, she cheated on me very, very early into our relationship, like a few days in. And she said she had forgotten about it and had brung it up recently, even though we had started dating over a year ago. She says it happened because I wasn't serious at that time until she actually fell in love with me. I don't know what to do. I'm so conflicted on so many levels. I'm in love with her, very much in love with her. It hurts me very much to know that it had happened because some of our earliest memories were my favorites, and it's sad to know that's how things really were. I'm still in love with her, she makes me happy, but now I'm sad every moment that she isn't around, and that's all I think about. That's sad. I genuinely don't know what to do, especially finding out about this a year later. I'm so heartbroken, yet still so very in love with her, and I think it'd prove more than difficult to let her go. I honestly just wish I never met her at this point so that none of it would have ever happened to me. It is important to note this is my first relationship, so I'm absolutely attached to the first person I've ever fallen in such deep love with. I cry pretty much every day now, but even now she still makes me happy when she is around. So I don't know what to do. Please help. So this is kind of a tough situation, right? Because it's someone's past. It's one of those things that I feel like you kind of just either get over, or if you move forward without getting over it, you're never getting over it at all, and it's just gonna lead to a lot of distrust in the relationship and maybe even resentment, which is a no bueno if you're looking at like a long term relationship. So yeah, that's very rough. I think the wording of the post is kind of weird too, because it seems like the guy OP over here is finds it hard to classify this as cheating. But the lady herself did use the word, and it is pretty much cheating, even though she said, like, she didn't think it was serious. So, if the values don't align there, I say just break up. I've been saying break up a lot. All right, next one. This one's a doozy. It's a little longer, and it's technically not from Reddit, but bear with me here. The title is Found Out Fiance of 6 Years Was Cheating 1 week before the wedding. 1 week, dude. You couldn't wait? Jeez. All right, let's get into it. Hi, SI. I read these horror stories, but never thought I'd be one to experience mine. Sorry for the long post. A kind Redditor actually showed me this website. I can post my Reddit post as the situation unfolded if you guys want for more context. That'd be actually great. I'll open that later. But anyways, going on. So it's been 3 weeks and I honestly have no idea how to feel. My fiance and I have been together for 6 years. I love her dearly, and she loved me dearly too. We've had our ups and downs, but I would do anything for this girl. I just wanted to see her be happy. I was happy to take care of her for the rest of our lives together. We had 1 year where we were long distance, which was really hard on the both of us. Needless to say, I was happy when we closed the distance and began planning the wedding. 1 week prior to the wedding, I learned from a friend that she had cheated on me. I confronted her the next day and she confirmed everything. My world, my happy married future was shattered right then and there. Apparently, she had EA for over a year since we started long distance. The guy came to see her 3 times and she committed PA. However, she adamantly denied having sex. Reddit really did not believe her. I was so stunned, heartbroken, and distraught that I later recognized were probably signs of PTSD. I'm sorry to all the BS out there. This is one pain no one should ever experience. In reality, I think I held it together pretty well given the circumstances. When I confronted her, she admitted she would not have told me before the wedding, which was just another stab in my heart. She admitted that she still had feelings for the OM. This crossed the line and I called off the wedding. I cannot, will not marry someone who has feelings for others. I know it works for some, but it does not work for me. What followed was days of immense pain, calling all my good friends, both her parents didn't know, their friends, vendors, etc. was not fun in the slightest. The day of the supposed wedding, I was almost catatonic. The day after, I went and told her we need to break up. She cried and begged and sobbed her heart out, which made my heart ache for her. After all I could not undo, 6 years of loving her in a single week. Yeah, I can imagine, dude. Reading the sources and threads here, I'm surprised to see that this behavior from the WS, or WF in my case, is actually very common. Few days later, she wanted to reconcile. She said she would do anything to make us work. She was really sorry, she loved me more than anything, and after reading stories here again, I am surprised this is all very common WS/WF behavior. I asked for a few weeks to cool down. So that brings us to now, 3 weeks from D-Day. I tried to talk to her a few times, and I'm just confused about everything. Now, in our relationship, I was always the emotionally strong one, the more caring one, and she has always been a bit immature. So she also had trouble with deep communication, while I was very happy with communication. She is obviously hurt, and she is very hurt by me not trusting her. However, all her actions seem very self-defensive? He wrote that with a question mark. When I asked to read through her messages with the OM, she said she felt violated. She said things like she wants to do what it takes, but if I can't trust her, then I can't trust her, so what's the point? She made a mistake and she's wrong, but she doesn't know if she can pay for it the rest of her life. Who is this person I'm talking to? Where is my loving and supportive fiancé when I'm so clearly hurt and traumatized by her actions? Again, reading threads here, it seems she is more sorry versus remorseful. If that's true, then this is a very hard pill to swallow, as I truly still care so much for her. Maybe she's still in the affair fog? Last time I spoke with her, she said while she did NC with the OM, she still could not get over him yet. I swear, man, these abbreviations throwing me for a loop. Continuing. At this point, I honestly don't know how to feel about anything. 3 weeks ago, my blissful, happy self was dragged out and brutally murdered. I feel like a shell of a former person. I'm just so sad now. Sad about the life we could have had together. Sad for how I feel like I have nothing. Even sad for her, what she must be going through. Currently, I am leaning against reconciliation based on the lack of support I'm getting and her actions post D-Day. Maybe I'm reading my situation wrong. In that case, would love to hear some perspectives. I am so scared right now. I am scared of being cheated on again. I am scared of never getting over this if we do reconcile. I am scared of being single at the age of 32. It truly is a shit sandwich. What are even the chances of finding the right one at my age? I never thought much about it, to be honest, and even the thought of it now scares me. Thank you for reading and giving me your advice / perspective if you choose to. Whew, that was a long doozy. I had to stop myself from just interjecting every few paragraphs because this situation is kind of crazy, but also kind of boilerplate cheating material that you'd see on Reddit, which means we're eating good, right? This is really good material. But I think the biggest red flag, like all the cheating aside, is the fact that he had to catch her in the act and she admitted that she wouldn't have told him and would have just gotten married. I think that's like if I could swear here, I think that's kind of like a shitty deal. You know what I mean? Like that's a shitty thing to do to someone. You know, that would cement you as an actual piece of shit. I apologize to the editor for all the swearing if you're gonna have to edit this, but yeah, it is what it is, man. That's like super manipulative, and I feel bad for the dude. He seems like a really, really nice guy, to be honest with you. Seems like a nice guy, for even considering to give this lady a chance again. But then again, you know, like, if we're in his shoes, we might not be as tough, as internet tough as we think we are. But wow, this is pretty crazy. Speaking of crazy, I know I've said crazy a lot of times now, but this one's a doozy. My fiance cheated on me with my father. Me, 27M, fiance 26F, call her L. My father, 52M, call him B. My mother, 50F, call her R. Like many who've had something like this happen, I never thought something like this would happen to me. But here we are. I've never used Reddit, but I've seen stories from here on TikTok, so I thought I'd give this a shot for any advice you all could give me. From listening to some other stories, you all like backstory. I'll try to be as clear and precise as I can, but it's only been a few weeks, so if I start to lose it during the telling of this, I'm sorry. Just a little note, I don't think English is this guy's first language, so bear with me here. Elle and I met in her freshman year of college. We were both dorm in the same building where we eventually met. We later found out we lived 2 towns away from each other, so whether we went home, I let her drive with me. It was only an added like 20 minutes, so it was no big deal. After multiple trips and hanging out at school, we started to date. I have a close-knit family, as did she. So we told our families right away. I had met hers plenty of times when dropping her off. But it was nothing more than an introduction and exchanging pleasantries. Both of our families expected each other with open arms. I think he meant accepted. Accepted each other with open arms, and our relationship grew. I was a year ahead of her, so when I graduated, I went home where I was offered a good job with great pay. I visited her at school whenever I got the chance, and whenever she came home, we would make time for each other. After she graduated, she moved in with me as both of her jobs were in the city near where we grew up. Like me, she was offered a position at the company she works at now, with great pay. After living together for about 3 years, I proposed. and we have been planning our wedding since. Now on to the part you're all reading for. Looking back, there was plenty of things I overlooked that I just wrote off thinking my father was just trying to welcome my ex into our family. Things like my father calling her all the time, and if I was around, they would just tell me they were talking about the upcoming family party or something along those lines. One time, Elle, which is his fiance, was in the shower and her phone rang. I seen it was my dad. So I answered, and when he realized it was me, he sounded both upset and surprised that I picked up. I then asked, "What's up?" He responded that he wanted to talk to Elle about my mother's birthday that was in a week. And after a minute, we ended the call. Even typing this out now, I feel like an idiot for not seeing it sooner. Well, goes over your head sometimes. On the day I found out, it was like any other day. Elle had Thursdays off, so she made breakfast for both of us. When I set out for work, she gave me a kiss and told me to have a great day. During my drive to work, I realized I had forgotten some paperwork I would need for a meeting I had at 3 p.m. I shrugged it off and told myself I would just go home at lunch to get it. Elle texted me throughout the day talking about all the casual stuff a couple talks about, like, "What do you want for dinner? I did the laundry. Do you want me to hang it up for you? Blah, blah, blah." He actually wrote blah, blah, blah. I didn't think it necessary to text her. I was coming home for lunch, so when it came around, I just left work and went home. Ooh, looks like it's gonna take a turn here. When I got home, I noticed a car that looked like my father's in our parking lot, but I didn't think anything of it, and just parked and went into our building. When I opened the door, I was met with a scene out of a movie, where a man comes home early and catches his spouse cheating. Such a cliche. Yep. There was a trail of clothes, both his and hers, leading to my bedroom, and the sound of faint moans echoed through my apartment. I stood at the door in utter shock. My brain was a mix of rage, sadness, and disgust, but if you were a fly on my wall, you would see what looked like a statue. I just couldn't move. When I finally snapped to, not knowing how much time had passed, I took out my phone to record. I picked up all the clothes that were on the floor and threw them into the hall of the building. After, I filmed the walk to my bedroom. The door was open. I stood in the hallway filming for about a minute, then flipped on the lights. They both jumped at the sudden light and looked at me, and to my utter shock, it was my father in the bed with her. Ooh. After the initial stun, my father noticed I was recording and started to panic, trying to find anything to cover himself and telling me to stop recording. He found a towel and wrapped it around himself and started to walk toward me. I told him, "If you don't want to get hurt, stop coming to me." Understandable. He either didn't care or didn't hear me and reached for my phone. I hit him square on the jaw. His head bounced off the door and slumped to the ground. Ooh. Elle shrieked. I aimed the camera at Elle and said, "Concerned about your F, buddy?" He censored the F. "But nothing to say to your fiance?" My father woke up after about a minute nap, and I told them I just needed to come pick something up for work, so I'm heading back now. If either of you pieces of S are here, when I get back, I'll send this video to everyone you know. I ended the video, looked at my dad, who was still coming to, and said, "You're dead to me. You're no longer my father. But you might want to go home and talk to Mom because I'll be talking to her very soon." I sat in my car for a while until one of the bosses at work called to ask where I was. I told her I was on my way back right now. When I got to her office to hand her the paperwork, I must have looked awful because she started asking what was wrong with me. I told her it was nothing and I'd be okay. I could see her scanning me up and down, and she noticed some blood on my collar and stood up, rushed to me, and said, "You're bleeding." I looked down and said it was my father's. She looked confused, so I pulled out my phone and showed her the video. She watched it in its entirety. She was introduced to Elle a few times, but never my father. She sat there silent for a moment until it finally clicked that my fiancé was cheating on me. But not only was she cheating, it was my father. She asked if there was anything she could do, suggesting I take some time off, but I told her I can't go back there right now, that I just need a minute and I'd be fine for the meeting. And I have another shirt in my office. The meeting went over fine. I put on a smile for everyone like nothing had happened. My boss came up to me after the meeting and asked how I could do that. But I just said I don't know and went to my office. I then came home, and I was alone for the first time in a very long time. Thank you for reading. I'm sorry I carried on so much, but it was therapeutic getting everything down. I just don't know what to do. I defiantly need to get, I think he meant definitely, I definitely need to get the hell out of this apartment. I just can't live here anymore, and there's no possible way I'm sleeping in that bed. I know not only do I have to go get checked out for STDs, but I think I broke something in my hand. Now that is something straight out of a movie. Straight out of a movie. That's kind of insane. It's I know I've been saying crazy a lot, but this one is bonkers. This one is Looney Tunes. Like, I can't even imagine. That's a mix of anger, disgust, betrayal, just seeing that scene and like seeing your dad naked for the first time. Oh, like the disgust, such a specific brand of disgust that's hard to describe. Man, I feel bad for the guy. I said it for the last guy. I feel bad for this guy even more, I think. But like the last guy, good thing they found out before the wedding, right? And I kind of want to know how that conversation with the mom went. My ex tried to cheat. It didn't work out for him, though. After some time, my ex would sleep with his phone in his pocket. Weird red flag, but I never said anything. When I noticed he wouldn't even pull up his phone in front of me, I knew something was up. One night, it slipped out of his sweats, and I woke up with it near my legs. I was just going to put it on the charger, honestly, but I saw he had a bunch of notifications and messages from a dating app. Man, I wanted to slap him awake, but I didn't. So I created a profile using a friend of mine's pictures that he never met, and I had her approval. She was his type, 100%, and I knew he loved blue eyes. So when we matched, like I knew we would, we got to chatting. We talked for about a week before I suggested meeting up, flirting, sexual stuff. He told her, me, that he was single and lived with a friend, so I suggested him paying for a hotel room so we could fuck. He said he would. We picked a spot. Mind you, I paid for everything because he was unemployed after losing his job. He drained my savings account over the year with manipulation. We're family. We take care of each other when we're in tough spots, he would say whenever I told him I didn't have any extra money. I paid my student loans, all bills of a one-bedroom, and the food. This boy had the ballsack to ask me for money in person. That his mom's birthday was coming up and he wanted to buy her something nice. So I gave him $50 because it was hilarious at this point. I still think about the smile on his face in that moment. That weekend he left, said he was going to his mom's and that he'd probably stay the night. I kissed him goodbye and told him to have a great time. Then I packed all of his stuff and left it outside. I live in a US city, so it went fast. Got the locks changed. He messaged me a few times on the app. I told him I was running late because I wanted to look perfect, but I was coming. And so sorry. My friend also sent me some sexy pictures to send him that didn't fully include her face. She's a real one. I even talked him into jerking off and sending me a video. Then after making him sit until about 1 a.m., I messaged him on the dating app a picture of his belongings being rummaged through by a homeless man, and to enjoy his stay in a hotel. As soon as my phone rang, I blocked his number and went to bed. He was outside of my door the Monday I came home from work, ugly crying, begging, telling me he was homeless and had nowhere to go. When I wasn't having it, he got angry, per usual. Once he started grabbing and trying to get into my apartment, I called the police, filed a restraining order because he did threaten my life and my pets for putting him out. Found out he ended up moving a few hours away where his only family is and has a job. Hopefully he learned something. Wow. Now, some people just wait for karma to do its thing. Some people take actions into their own hands. This lady took it into her own hands and then slam dunked that shit into next week to get into the playoffs. MVP, MVP, the crowd is going wild for this lady. Hats off to her. This is one of those like satisfying and comeuppance just dessert story that we all really need after this whole rough bit of negativity from all these people cheating and being cheated on and then just getting the short end of the stick. It's nice to hear about someone who actually got through it. You know what I mean? So yeah, big ups to this lady. Hope she's doing well. This one is from Ask Reddit. The question was, what's the wildest cheating story you've witnessed? This guy says, I used to go to a comic shop, and the comic shop owner knew all of the gossip in the area. Nice dude. Remembers all of his regulars and asks about you if he hasn't seen you in a while to check in on people. A lot of people in the area grew up with this shop, so he's got stories. Anyways, he told us about this story from some years back about this regular who disappeared for a few months. Comes back one day and the shop owner asks him, Hey man, haven't seen you in a while. Kind of like, where have you been? The regular was like, oh, I've been getting divorced. I had to move. It was a whole thing. So naturally, the shop owner asks, why are you divorcing your wife? The regular caught his wife cheating. He had picked up a second part-time job as a pizza delivery man because he was trying to fund to take his wife on her dream vacation. All of the money he earned from that job was supposed to go into that vacation. He had been working this job for like 6 months. It was a whole secret. She didn't know he was doing that for her, but he was trying to surprise her. He was the pizza delivery man at the motel she was cheating at him with. The dude she was cheating on him with answered the door with her right next to him. Apparently didn't even go back to the pizza place. He quit on the spot, went home, packed his shit, and left town. I mean, that's a man of purpose. You know what I mean? Like quits on the spot because he's realized he doesn't need to do the trip anymore. Like, good on him, right? Like skipped town and then cleared his head, got a divorce, didn't have such a violent reaction on the spot. We don't know what we might do. You know, I might not be wiser. So good on him. I also just thinking about it. He seems like a chill guy. Shout out to the comic book store owner, you know? That place is probably an institution of wild cheating stories. And the last one from this thread. Roommate was sleeping with his boss who was married with a child. She would arrive at her house at 5:30 a.m., having told her husband she's off to the gym. They would have an early morning shag, shower, get ready, and go off to work together. They would also do it at work in the bathrooms. On weekends, he would go do his food shopping and she would coincide her food shopping, so they would walk around the store together doing their shopping. He came home one night and sat my other roommate and I down and told us that within the next 6 months that she would be getting a divorce and they were going to have a kid together. Let's just say she's still married and he's got a new job. They were lawyers. So much for being fit and proper. Wow, this is a rare case where we get the point of view of the person doing the cheating, like engaging in the cheating. And he sounds like a young guy too, because he fell for the getting a divorce in 6 months and raising the kid together. So yeah, I think you can tell that there's a power dynamic between these lawyers. Definitely, you could tell that the lady was slightly higher up there. And also, I did read somewhere that a lot of these kind of high stress jobs, I don't know if you'd consider being a lawyer high stress. I think it is. It's all stressful when your morality is always in question. But these high stress jobs, a lot of cheating, a lot of coitus going on in these fields. This and like nurses, I've heard, do that a lot. Flight attendants too. I don't know how true they are. I don't know how true they are, but this is just what I've heard. And from the story, this kind of goes with it, with the stigma with high stress jobs and it being like a breeding ground for infidelity. It matches.